y'all. This is Friday. We made it through another week, and welcome to another edition of On the Needle. So today I'm talking about one of my favorite artists, and that is Pink and her sophomore album, Missundaztood. So if you followed Pink's career, you know that she made a very sharp turn with this album because her first album was, I think it was called Not Gonna Take Me Home. I can't remember. I feel bad that I can't remember that because I love Pink, but most girls, There You Go, You Make Me Sick, those were like the big singles from that album. It was a very R&B driven album. Candy wrote some of those songs. At that time, Candy was hot because she had No Scrub. She had the songs from Pink. She had Destiny's Child. She had written several songs, including Bills, Bills, Bills from the Writings on the Wall album. So everybody wanted that sound. And Pink definitely had a lot of those moments right out of the gate. So she was kind of being shopped as this artist who looks pop, but she's R&B, kind of like a mix of R&B pop. Where I think a lot of people maybe didn't really know where to place her in the beginning because she looked like, a little bit like the Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera's, but more edgy. But then she sounded like TLC, Destiny's Child, and some of the R&B soul groups. So with that in mind, hey Danny, don't do it. With that in mind, this album was executive produced by Pink and L.A. Reid. So it really marks the first time that I think we see Pink come into her own as an artist, more of the type of artist that we see her today. So this album was on RCA. So for those that don't know, when Pink first came out in the late 90s, she was under LaFace Records. LaFace was a powerhouse. I mean, they had Pink, they had Usher, Tony Braxton, TLC, as I mentioned, Outkast. They were just this mecca of the South. Anything that was R&B, hip hop, LaFace was running it. So she was definitely in good company, but then that label dissolved with Arista, and Pink, I don't know exactly how that happened, to be honest. I know Pink was still working with L.A. Reid. After this album, you didn't really see that relationship as much. But some great songs were on here, some of my favorites of hers. And in terms of record sales, this is her biggest album to date. I know it's sold over 10 million copies. When you look at the sleeve here, she has pictures and, kind of still got this punk rock look, or not still, but debuting, I should say, more of a punk rock look, which is more adjacent to an Avril Lavigne or somebody like that. It's not a colored vinyl, just your standard black vinyl. It does have the lyrics there, and more pictures, and then the lyrics here too. So this album really ushered in Pink into her more angsty era, if you will. She was more angry. She kind of really took the reins in terms of songwriting and putting her input into the music, just like a Pill, which I love. Love that song. That's one of the best songs ever to me, and definitely one of her best songs. Get the Party Started was kind of like a light pop introduction. I feel like it was the perfect song to bridge what people knew Pink as and then the new Pink that they were being introduced to, because Get the Party Started is definitely more of a pop record. But Just Like a Pill, Don't Let Me Get Me was another one that was a real big song that was written by Dallas Austin. He wrote a few songs on this album. So you can hear that influence there too with songs that he had done, like with TLC, like Unpretty, kind of had that same vein, that same kind of rock foundation underneath, which is the sound that she has on this album. Also, Family Portrait is one of her most personal, songs to date. Really talks about her family, the divorce, how she doesn't want her family to be split up, that she wants them to continue to be one unit. She also had some legends on here: Linda Perry, Steven Tyler. What's interesting about Linda Perry is she details years later kind of this public falling out that she had with Linda Perry, because Linda Perry was one of the key songwriting partners of this album. And then, of course, here you get to see her later, making big records with Christina Aguilera. So I think Pink felt a little bit slighted, maybe felt some ownership in that friendship, where she felt like maybe Linda Perry should have only been hers, which you see that with a lot of artists. When they have that magic and chemistry with certain songwriters and producers, it's almost like they kind of expect, like, you're only working with me. So that was interesting. And Pink, I just think she took a lot of risks here on this album that could have really gone wrong. Fortunately for her, it worked to her benefit, her career. I think people liked seeing the real her. Had she waited until, I think, the third or fourth album to introduce this more rock sound, I don't think it would have gone over well. I think she was just new enough where she was an established artist, very successful from her first album, but enough people didn't know her yet to get used to that sound, if that makes sense. So she had a little bit of leeway to kind of play around with it, in my opinion, and gave us a great album and one of her best albums. I'm really glad that I own this one. This is the album I think she probably would even say defined her career, as far as putting her in that level of a pop superstar. So let me know what you think about Pink, her music, this album, Missundaztood. What are some of your favorite songs from the album? What are some of your favorite Pink songs, period? I want to know. So thanks as always for tuning in, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next week, peace.